Hey everybody, hopefully you can hear me over the busy sounds of the Beach Craft B200 turbo prop taxiing out there. It's a busy day here in Oban in Scotland. We better get going. It's been a very interesting couple of days, that's for sure. And this video I'm doing today is really meant as a kind of just wrap up of my time with the Reverb. Thankfully, having it on a Friday means that I was able to really give it some good testing, I suppose, and just tweak and tinker around with the various different settings and software to get it to what it now looks like right now. This is the most amazing display, the most incredible visuals. It's so crisp I have ever seen. That includes the original Reverb that I had. Now, this is some crucial information to anyone who's thinking about buying one, and I've noticed that. Thank you very much guys for everybody who's commented on my last video. That's really appreciated, and I think I've probably inadvertently kind of basically convinced a few people to get one. Everything I say is completely honest. I don't, I'm just a guy who is very, very, very sort of interested and loves VR, and everything I say is just my sort of genuine reactions, really. And it's really important to make sure that if you are buying a Reverb, let's get this struck up actually. If you are buying a Reverb, you have to make sure to download the Windows Mixed Reality for SteamVR beta, and you need to make sure that your Windows has had the 1903 update. Now, don't thank me, thank everybody in the comments that have mentioned it, and thank everybody. If you're not a member, definitely I'd recommend signing up to VR Aviators in on the Facebook group. I just love that group. It's fantastic. It's a really great group with like-minded VR enthusiasts. Some really good discussions on there. Sign up there, and that's where I got my information from. Okay, beacon on, boost pump on. But yeah, it makes a Herculean difference, a massive difference. I'm trying to find words to describe how absolutely amazing the visuals are in this now. Come on, baby. Come on. There we go. Oh. Okay, put our headphones in and we'll shut the canopy a little bit here. But I mean, I tell you guys, honestly, I can see every single scratch, every single fingerprint. I noticed a fingerprint on here the other day that I've never seen before. That's actually just reminded me, my IPD, I need to change it, because at the moment it's at 59, so I need to change it. Although I don't really notice a massive difference, because I thought my partner, she has a very low IPD, and I thought it might be interesting experiment for some of you guys who have got a lower IPD. I thought I would see what like I say, my partner thinks of it. So she spent a good 40 minutes in the Reverb yesterday, and this is some hilarious footage of her in the Reverb.
Crow. Yay! Come on!
Okay, so that little video certainly shows you that even if you have a low IPD, you can still enjoy the Reverb. So with that in mind, we are looking for our oil temp and cylinder temperature to come up. As you can see, we're getting a solid 45 frames per second. That's needed in the Reverb. I guess that's one of its negative points, is, as I've said before in previous videos, its asynchronous time warp is not as good as Oculus's Rift S. So if you do have problems with frame rate at the moment and you're not using much super sampling, then probably wouldn't recommend the Reverb really. I think, to think about it in terms of its smoothness, it's much better than it used to be. Even if I'm not sort of hitting that 45 frame mark and I'm say 35 frames, it's still more manageable than it was before. Again, due to the sort of SteamVR and Windows Mixed Reality updates, so it's a lot more of a nice place to be, even in sort of lower frame rate areas. But I've got my settings all very high. As I say, native resolution, the GPU, your graphics card, will be able to handle the native resolution on the Reverb better than it would super sampling, if that makes sense. Colin's barking, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on, never mind. But this is just a beautifully smooth place to be, it really is. And I thought we could probably head over to the Highlands, means we're in Oban. I think what we could do is we could head into this area here. It leads us right to Ben Nevis. Now Ben Nevis, for anyone who doesn't know, is the highest mountain in United Kingdom. Just to show you how crisp this panel is, like this console here, I feel like it's actually there. It just feels completely real. Like this, I can even see little finger marks, like oil stains, little paint that's wearing off there, some scratches. I've never seen detail quite like that. And for instance, I can read that little label there, right down there. Look, in fact, I'll probably read a bit of it now for you, just to prove to you that I'm not lying. This airplane must be operated as an utility or acrobatic category airplane in compliance with the approved airplane flight manual. There you are. I won't read all of it, but you get the idea. In fact, I remember the other day I can read this as well, which is it's just insane that I can read that it says there, for aviation emergency use only, that little label there. Now I'm trying to think, in fact no, before I go any further with this, let's just take off, otherwise we'll be here all day, and that poor Cessna over there is desperate to take off. So we've got our headphones in, mixture fully rich, let's light the afterburners. I've set up a bit of a custom weather area in active sky, just so that we get a decent view of the scenery. I'm always very tentative with this aircraft on takeoff because it's a persistent aircraft, very A to A. And you know, I actually flew in a Chipmunk recently, and being in the Reverb in this kind of really old vintage style cockpit, I can almost smell the oil on the old leather seats. You know, that kind of old aircraft or old vintage sort of car smell. You know what I mean? I think that's the only thing missing now really, is smell-o-vision. Oh, this is so good. Amazing. You've probably never really heard me be so, what's the word, so enthusiastic about the Reverb as I am. And there is a reason for that. This is what I wanted. This is the experience I wanted right at the very beginning when I, you know, first heard it was announced, and all of the kind of the initial impressions and people saying like how amazing it is and stuff, and I didn't quite, I mean it was incredible, but I just thought it would be a bit better. This is the experience I was expecting. There's literally, in my headset there is no Mura at all. I can just see really clearly. I was actually prepared to forego that as a negative, but turns out it's not even there anyway to worry about, so that is amazing. Getting superb frame rate. I'll just stick my SteamVR settings just in case you were wondering. I mean, it did it for me automatically, but this is, if you look up there again, That is my SteamVR percentage window, which I've actually got it set slightly higher than native, which is recommended actually. You're not going to get too much of a slowdown, and as you can see here, I'm getting superb frame rate. No problems at all. Another thing that I found really interesting is the jaggies, the dreaded jaggies, are less pronounced. Now that I can only think that the reason for that is because the original Reverb wasn't really at its full resolution. So I'm not using any AA at all, or FX AA at the moment, which has given me really great performance and pretty much zero jaggies. I mean, I can see them every now and then, particularly if I'm outside the aircraft, but generally speaking, it's incredible. Now, a lot of people are commenting, and thank you so much for all the comments. It's been really fun reading everyone's sort of, experiences. Just wake my trim wheel up again. There we go. Oh, now we're going down again. But people are asking me, should I buy the Reverb? Should I keep the Rift S? I really can't answer that for you guys. I really, really would love to, but I can only share my experiences. Now, I've always said the Rift S is the VR headset to go for if you're flying an X-plane only, or say perhaps you only own one headset. The Oculus Rift S is the best all-round headset out there. It's the best value, it has the best tracking, the lenses are superb, it's still crystal clear, it's a superb headset, it really is. So you won't go wrong, far wrong at all, by using that headset. Now for me, this is why I still own a Rift S. I've got no plans in getting rid of it or selling it. I will use the Rift S. The other day I was in Arizona sunshine for a few hours in it, had a fantastic blast killing loads of zombies. It's great for room play, room scale. Like I was in Dead and Buried with a friend the other day for a few hours, and with the boundary, the way it works, it kept me in my small little space relatively. I know there was a couple of times I bashed the wall, but generally speaking it was a fantastic experience. Now I wouldn't be able to do that so well in the Reverb. However, it's not as simple as that. These things never are. Just enjoying this view at the same time. Hey, so at the moment, look, we're down to 34 frames and everything feels fine. It's feeling okay to me. It's feeling very nice indeed, perfectly flyable. I think at this point asynchronous time warp won't be working, so you will notice a little like micro stutter, but it doesn't hurt my eyes like it did last time. It just doesn't. I can cope with it better, and I guess the advent of Vulkan, I don't mean the tin triangle that doesn't fly anymore, which is a very big shame. Slight stutter there. I think we are actually loading a couple of ortho tiles, but the Vulkan API will, if that site, for instance, we're back up to 45 frames again, look. So that is a perfect example of where Vulkan will really help. Basically what we were doing there was loading a load of ortho tiles in front of us. With the Vulkan API, that can be on a different core, so I won't experience those stutters. That's around the corner, that is not far away. So I do feel that it's quite an investment in getting in a headset like this, because even if that bothers you, I don't think it'll be an issue for long. Sorry if I'm kind of going off on one a bit, but and I'm kind of like not sticking to a subject. It's just the way my mind is working today. But I am so impressed. So I guess I want to give you a few conclusions really. Will this replace my Rift S for flying? Yes, it absolutely will be. Completely. Just checking we're still recording. This is such a better experience. It's more comfortable, it's lighter. My eyes are so happy in this display. I just don't need to focus on anything or squint. It's just really easy. And when you're flying for a few hours, that's what you want. The headset doesn't overheat like it did before. No flickering issues at all. It feels solid. The tracking this is a really good point actually. For seated gameplay, I think the tracking in the Reverb is better than the Rift S. Now let me explain why. You're not always going to have the controller in your hand like this, waving it about, unless you're yapping away like I am right now. But say if I put the controller down here, if I look around for a bit, completely have it out of my view, okay? Looking around, and wow, everything's looking amazing. That's Glencoe down there, if I'm not mistaken. Look back down, the controller's still there, and it's still in place. No problem. With the Rift S, that will now be doing this. I don't know if anyone's ever noticed that who's got a Rift S, but it'll start doing a little circular weird motion thing because it's kind of got confused where it is. The Reverb doesn't do that, and as you can see, if you've got an overhead panel, no problem, down there, out your view, back in it again, look, it's really good. So, oops, sorry about that, not sure if that showed on the screen there, but I'm just kind of pressed the button by accident. Colin's growling his head off for some reason, I don't know why. Maybe I'm being burgled and not realising. In fact, yeah, that's interesting as well. There's a pass-through mode. I'm not sure, would I be able to show you that? If I click that once, you've got this screen come up. And then you click the torch, and then, if you see over there, there's Colin. Look, there he is. Colin! Here, can you see them? They kind of both, that's Monty, by the way. Monty hasn't been on a video yet, but I plan on doing that soon, maybe. So you can't, you know, it's not great, it's not amazing, but it's actually better than nothing at all. It's not as good as the Rift S, but then I'm not, you know, it's no big deal. But guys, seriously, I cannot stress enough how amazing this experience is. My eyes are just so happy. There's just no screen door. The sweet spot is actually really nice. It's not as pronounced, shall I say, as the Rift S, but I do think that is partly due to that extreme clarity you get right in the centre. But to give you an example, I can sit straight, like looking straight out now, and then I can look down. I can even read, no problem, like my comm settings, my nav display. I can read everything still fine, and that's me just moving my eyes around, not the headset. But generally speaking, just do that, and then yeah, it's in complete full view again. So it's not really an issue for me at all. Just loading in a couple more orthos as we get nearer. Now, I'm very tempted. Well, I suppose I can't really change the time of day now, but it looks like that's Ben Nevis over there, but it's in sort of a blanket of possibly cloud, I don't know. But we'll carry on. Orbex have done a fantastic job of Scotland. It is a masterpiece. It really is. Just gorgeous. And there's plenty of just nice little, I won't say Easter eggs, but sort of things like, you know, castles and points of interest that you can discover. But like I say, for me, having no screen door effect is fantastic as well. And something I keep forgetting to mention, because it's not really much of an issue for me, and that's why I keep forgetting, because I don't think about it, but I know it's a big deal for a lot of you guys, and that's the field of view, the FOV, shall I say. And this is supposed to be about 114 degrees. The field of view in this feels a bit better than the Rift S, not by a massive amount, but it just feels a little bit wider. Now that's really weird. Some people are the opposite to that, so I think it all depends on how close you have the lenses, how you have it on your head, sort of, you know, some of this is quite subjective really, but for me, oh, wow. Yeah, there's still that kind of scuba diver effect, I suppose, but it's you know, I will take a sharp image like this over field of view any day of the week at this stage in VR, and I've said this a few times. Definitely. So here we are. This is my first look at Ben Nevis as well in the HP Reverb, and you know, you can see things so much further out now. Oh, it's just wonderful. It really is. It's great. I haven't had to do anything to these controllers either. They just basically work. There's a button down there. That's the zoom. Your hat switch just works as normal. This obviously is your kind of like touchpad, which I quite like actually, and you just use it for that, no problem. And then you got your trigger down there as well. So it's not difficult to make the transition, and so far I'm finding the software is working really well. I've had no issues with it at all, no crashes, no weird stuff happening, and I've had plenty of that with Oculus as well, so I think that's probably a draw there, to be honest. 45 frames per second, on the money. Now there is a option to change the refresh rate to 60 Hertz, and that will give you even better performance, because then it tops out at 60 frames per second, and with asynchronous time warp on it will be 30 frames per second, which means that the threshold for that smoothness is even lower. The only thing for me personally is that I get a bit of flickering with that refresh rate, because my eyes are sensitive to it. Now I don't really know a way around that at the moment, but quite a few people who I've spoken to with Reverbs don't have that problem at all, and they run at 60 Hertz all day long. So that might be something for you to consider as well. Holy crap. That is amazing. That is absolutely amazing. Wow. And you even get a better sense of height, because your eyes are seeing more, so it's seeing more and giving more information to your brain, including all those rocks and that, just every single tree or blade of grass, it's all there. Oh, that's a little bit disappointing, Orbex, come on, that mesh is not right there. And considering this has been out now for a while, and Ben Nevis is a big area, tourist area, they should have got that correct. Just take a couple of screenshots. Might take a screenshot for that and put that in the forums, because it's actually, what is that? Yeah, that's a house up there. I don't know what type of house. Yeah, that's not good, Orbex. That needs to be sorted out. That's a shame. But the rest is just simply stunning. So I'm looking forward to doing a really proper big test with a 5-hour session in X-Plane 11. Now I'll just say I've used it in Elite Dangerous, and that video is coming up of me really badly flying a space aircraft, whatever you want to call it, in Elite Dangerous. It was my first sort of proper session in it with a friend, and he's started playing it and he's got to grips with it a bit quicker than me. I will post that video up because it was very interesting, because I had a 3-hour session in Elite Dangerous, 2.5 hours of which was in the Reverb, and I was absolutely blown away. I was just so amazed with how clear and legible the text was, how black the blacks looked. That's important, because I know a lot of you guys want to know about that. And then I jumped straight out of that into the Rift S, and it was a bit of a shock, to be honest, because the blacks turned into a grey, I don't know, like a bit of a grey, foggy colour rather than a proper black that was in the Reverb. Well, it wasn't completely black, but it was certainly better than the Rift S. And of course, I don't know, just I was using super sampling at about 1.6, but the text just seemed a little bit fuzzy and pixelated. Now, of course, if I'd have just gone straight into the Rift S and into Elite Dangerous, I would have absolutely loved it, because it's still amazing. But coming straight from the Reverb, I was a little bit disappointed and quite surprised with how different it felt. So really, this conclusion really, I mean, I've already drawn up my conclusion only after 3 days. In fact, I kind of did it after about a couple of hours, to be honest. It's a very different experience than I had last time. I will be using the Reverb solely now for flight simulation and seated gameplay. 100%. The very few negatives far outweigh the positives. And as I will continue with these tests and sort of I'll be trying a few different titles including Project Cars, Aerofly, DCS. Cannot wait to try DCS. It's completely inexcusable that I haven't tried DCS yet in VR. And you know, Aerofly is another one that I really need to, as I say, try. But I could be quite happily up here for hours and hours. And I can even feel how it's actually getting more comfortable already. This sort of leather face pad. It's quite hard when you first wear it, but it kind of softens a bit as you break it in, and it's just feeling fantastic. Getting a bit of turbulence here. A moderate turbulence. All that looks amazing. Should we take a look outside, guys? Let's just do that quickly. Maybe not that though. I don't know. Whoops. I've no idea what I just did there. There we go. Absolutely stunning. I've run out of superlatives, to be honest, guys. I don't think there are any left. It's the clear winner. It really is. I think I'm falling in love with it that much, I might hire a security guard to stand outside my house so that no one nicks it. I can't get over it, guys. I cannot get over what I'm looking at right now. That's real. It's totally real. If headsets don't progress now for three years or more, I don't care. This is incredible. This is the Rift 2 that we were hoping for flight simming anyway. And those tip tanks are looking a little bit empty. Okay guys, I'm going to make my way back to Oban now. I'm absolutely thoroughly enjoying my time with the Reverb. It's been incredible. I can't believe really how I'm not paying by the hour to have this experience, because if you think about what you're experiencing for the price, and if you consider how much other headsets are in comparison to the Reverb, oops, pressed the wrong button there again, it's actually a really cheap way of experiencing flying like never before. Well, sorry about that guys, the view has changed there, so you may have just had a different view for a second there. Apologies. But anyway, I'm going to try something for the first time whilst recording, and that is just to try and see what it feels like if I turn off the lights in X-Plane 11. I've done a few flights in the Rift S at night, but I don't really particularly enjoy it. So yeah, let's do it now. Oh guys, even the hangar is amazing. I can just read all that text so well. And the other day, by the way, I was working on my desktop and I was in VR, There was no need for me to take it off because I could read everything perfectly. Right, let's pull the lights down. Here we go. Holy crap. That is amazing. That is a lot better. It's not a true black like you'd expect in the CV1, but I mean it depends how important it is to you to fly at night and have those true blacks, but I really feel like suddenly it's night time. And this is an interesting test for glare as well, actually, because the valve index is horrendous for glare. There is a bit of glare. Yeah, the glare is a little bit not quite as good as the Rift S, but then if you think about it, it doesn't really matter when you've got this level. Yeah, this is definitely darker. 100%. Which I'm surprised about, because as I say, I think the panel overall in the Reverb is brighter. But yeah, I can conclude this video. I can conclude my thoughts by saying anything relating to seated gameplay simulation, for me, the Reverb wins hands down. It is the new king. It is completely unmatched. It's amazing. I love it. I want to marry it and have its babies. But I will be keeping the Rift S because every now and then I might want to just have a different experience. You know, the Oculus content's great anyway. So I'm in a position where I don't need to kind of choose between them. But if I did, and I was solely using it for flight simulation, there's a reason why everyone's buying these Reverbs. In fact, even the HP rep told me that most of their customers are simulator geeks like myself. So it is the headset. I'm just trying to think before I go of anything that I can think of as negatives. I guess, just looking around now, there's a slight fisheye effect right in the centre there. I can't even tell there. I can't really tell in game, but I've noticed it. Say if you're in the SteamVR sort of home and you kind of look left and right, there's a slight fisheye type effect, but it's ever so slight. You don't get that with the Rift S. I think the Rift S or the Oculus have done wonders with their lenses, and I think if they ever released a 4K headset, I'll be very intrigued to see what that's like compared to the Reverb. But guys, there's just nothing out there that's even closest resolution. And now that HP have finally got their mojo back, and it's not overheating, it's nice and cool, everything's working, I'm not getting any flickering, no issues at all. I suppose another negative would be the controller battery life. Probably lasts between 5 and 8 hours, which is fine for me. I can handle that. If you think of the Cosmos, batteries are lasting about 1.5–2 hours. That is completely unacceptable. But if I'm doing a long session in Next Plane or whatever, I won't need to change the batteries. Just get some rechargeable batteries, and then that's the problem gone, isn't it? Right, we are back at Oban now, so I'm going to make a landing. Just checking we're still recording. A bit paranoid about that now, since this is the third time I've tried to do this video. Okay, let's just check ATIS here. That's better.
Echo Golf Echo Oscar Airport information Delta 1305 Zulu weather wind 022 at 12 visibility 10 sky condition few clouds at 4300 temperature 15 dew point 3 altimeter 3009 advice on initial contact you have information Delta.
Okay, we better get this sorted out then for our landing.
Echo Golf Echo Oscar Airport information Delta 1.
So nice to be able to see all of this so clearly.
022 at 1.
I do not need don't need to lean in at all. I mean, you know, it's fine to lean in. You know, I'm sure real pilots lean in to do certain things, but I don't need to do that. Okay. It's a slippery beast, this thing, so it's going to be tricky because we're going pretty quick here. So I may have to just drop the power and you'll be a little bit of a beep because of the gear. Controller down. Sorry about that, guys. It will go in a minute. Okay. And we will line up and do a bit of a side slip. Oh, this is so good. So clear. Just to let you know, I can see the pappy lights already, and I know we're too high, but I can see it this far out, no problems. Oh, look at it. I literally spent the other day just basically sat in a cockpit just looking at everything. must have been 20 minutes or more just basically sat there on the ground just marvelling at what my eyes were seeing. Just coming in now to the glide slope. I'm loving these houses, they look really hardy. Kind of house you'd expect. There's a very nice bridge just there, take a picture of that. Concentrate. Still a little fast actually, to be fair. 30 degrees of flaps. So anyone who's buying a Reverb, I wish you the best of luck. I hope your experience is as positive as mine. Remember, my first experience wasn't so positive, but it's been worth it. Any sort of test, you know, pushing boundaries, which is exactly what this headset's doing, it's pushing boundaries. There's bound to be issues, and I was an early adopter. But HP have looked after me actually really well. I've been very impressed with them, and I hope that your experience is as amazing as mine if you do decide to buy one. And we're just going to taxi in here. My biggest problem really is just wanting to fly constantly now. Just love it. And my girlfriend, she was quite adamant. She didn't want to go out of VR. She was I had troubles taking it off her head. She's like, no, I love it. So that kind of says a lot. I love this aircraft. Oops. And of course, as soon as you take out the headphones, you've got that amazing sound built in, which I love. I've really missed those integrated headphones. It should be part of the experience, and Oculus should be ashamed of themselves for that monstrosity that they've designed, that sort of piped experience through the strap. It is, I mean, it's okay, and you kind of start to get used to it until you end up using proper headphones again and you think, oh okay. So even the sound of that, oh, it's fantastic. Okay guys, thank you very much. I will be doing some more videos on Elite Dangerous, Project Cars, DCS, Aerofly at some point, hopefully, to show you my experiences with that. But in a nutshell, the Reverb is staying. Cheers guys, bye bye.